to the Granulars R&D lab here that we affectionately call our 301 building. There's very few ingredient manufacturers in the world that can provide you, but also the ability to try those ingredients in various products, even your products. So here we are today with Hannah and Cynthia, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Hannah, take it away.
Hi, I'm Hannah LaFontaine, and I'm part of the R&D team here.
How long have you been with Granulars?
I have worked here for about 6 months, so I'm good. Yes, I'm very busy the whole time I've been here.
And then to my left here is Cynthia Stern. Cynthia, tell us a little about yourself. How long have you been?
Cynthia Stearns. I've been with Granulars since 2006. So 15 years now. I lose count. Just a lot of fun. I've been in R&D for 13 years.
And a proud graduate of Western University.
Yes.
And Hannah, your alma mater.
I went to Mississippi State and then University of Georgia for my master's.
SEC up here in Pac-12 country. All right, so I'm going to kind of turn over to Hannah here just for a second. We're going to talk about our first recipe, what she's going to be creating, and some of the ingredients she's going to be using to create this recipe.
All right, so I'm going to be putting together a gluten-free oat flour pie crust. So some of the ingredients I'm going to be using are a whole oat flour, a pre-gelatinized whole oat flour, some coconut oil, brown sugar, shortening, and then a little bit of tapioca starch. Put that together in this food processor. So first I'm adding 100 grams of the whole oat flour. So I had worked on this a little bit and I did it a few different ways. When I did 100% whole oat flour, I was noticing a little bit of breakage and the crust wasn't as strong, which can be, you know, a big problem when you're doing gluten-free baking. So I found that using a little bit of the Granulars pre-gel really helped me with that to kind of hydrate the dough a bit more and give me a little bit more strength.
And Cynthia, if we can head over here, Cynthia, can you tell us just kind of from food science perspective about the pre-gel flour? What makes it different?
Put me on the spot all of a sudden.
Yes.
The pre-gel is just a modified oat flour that we processed here, and it's highly absorptive. And I'm going to start inventing words because I'm so tongue-tied right now. But I've worked with this product for years, and it's I don't know.
Yeah, it helps give some strength versus the whole oat flour, which can just be kind of a little kind of hearty and, you know, make a little heavy, and the pre-gel just helps kind of lighten it up a bit.
And so we put it through a proprietary process to pre-gelatinize it, which is what pre-gel stands for. And because of pre-gelatinization, so we can get much quicker moisture uptake.
Yep. Yeah. And so kind of with that, I am also going to add a little bit of tapioca starch, which can be really, really helpful with gluten-free baking. It just kind of helps bind the dough together, get some crispness and chew to gluten-free stuff. So I'm adding 30 grams of that.
Question on the pre-gel.
Yeah.
Is the pre-gel physical or chemically modified?
Physically, we do not use chemicals on any of our products here at Granulars. So all of the unique innovations we're making on our products are purely with mechanical energy and research, no chemicals.
Nice, nice job, guys.
And then I'm going to add a little bit of brown sugar because I think brown sugar and oats just go really well together. It brings out the oatiness because with this crust, I still want to get some of that oat flavor from it. And that was another reason that I did the pre-gel and tapioca starch, because pre-gel is still giving you some oat flavor, but we're getting some of that great functionality from it too. So then for my fats, I wanted to kind of keep this vegan. I've made it with 100% coconut oil. I made it with 100% butter. I did half and half, tried a lot of different things. And I found that putting coconut oil kind of makes the crust crack a little bit. So I went ahead and also did a little bit of shortening. So the shortening, you know, keeps it vegan, but then it does, the vegetable shortening does give us a little bit just more strength that the coconut oil might lack. But the coconut oil gives us a great flavor, so I would really recommend doing both of them. So then I'm going to just kind of blend this together. And when you make a pie crust, you kind of get these sort of wet crumbs. And then I'm going to add a little bit of cold water. And this is just, I just kind of add this little by little as I need it. A big thing with when you're making pie crust, you want to keep everything cold because then your fats will start to melt and you don't want that for your dough. It's coming together a little better. Roll this out.
Any idea how much water you use there?
So I did about 50 grams. I would recommend to just kind of have some cold water on hand and add it as you need. So you see it's a little crumbly, but as soon as you're kind of pressing it together and warming it up a little with your hands, it comes together better. And I just like to put the parchment paper over the top so it's a little less messy.
Just the kind of texture you're looking for.
Yeah.
But I suppose if a food manufacturing company was to add oat flakes or something else to this recipe, you get a little bit more texture look at that flake, and you have to adjust this.
Yeah.
Change the way the moisture is.
Definitely. So you can add a little bit of like rolled oats to this if you want a little bit more of that bite, which I've done that too. It's just you're going to need a little bit more moisture since you're doing that. It's going to be a little messy. I'd rather do this. All right, so then you just kind of gently pull this off. And I did it a little messy, so there'll be a little bit of cracking. You just can kind of fix that. Press it together. You have this nice dark color from the oats.
And while she's pressing that crust, I want to take a little bit of time to make sure that we're communicating through because gluten-free is such an important terminology. It comes with a set of expectations and a set of specifications. So of the ingredients that you use, our whole flour is available in industrial quantities. It's important for all who are watching this to remember that we are a true B2B manufacturer. So as opposed to selling 50-pound bags to home bakers, we are selling truckloads of products to major food manufacturers. But really what we want to show is that the R&D people at locations of the food manufacturers, this is a little bit of a taste of some of our ingredients. Currently, our whole flour is available gluten-free. Rolled oats are available gluten-free. The only ingredient that is not available certified gluten-free today is this gel whole flour. So although we are making a technically gluten-free recipe, it's really just a non-wheat recipe. It's non-wheat baked. But I also want to mention that in the facility in the building where we create this pre-gel whole flour, we are going down the road of gluten-free certification. We hope to soon be able to offer all of our specialty products certified.
Steve, if we could get you to come closer to the speaker when you talk, you will sound less choppy. Yeah.
Okay. I'll go over it one more time. Hannah,
Can
you hear me now?
Arm length. Yeah. It's better.
Okay. I'll go over that one more time and I'll keep it a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
Of the grain miller's ingredients that Hannah used, it's important to mention that our rolled oats are available gluten-free. Our whole oat flour is available gluten-free. Our pre-gelatinized whole oat flour that we were talking about earlier, where we use mechanical energy to modify this prior to it being used, is not yet available certified gluten-free. We're heading down the road of getting that building, getting that process gluten-free certified, but we're not there yet. I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that.
All right, so
Look at that magic.
yeah, here's my pie crust. Made it a little prettier after my mess. So just getting this in the oven. So I'm going to do it at 350 for kind of 13 to 15 minutes. All right, so now while that's cooking, we're going to move on to the oat tortilla.
It's nice to have that pie crust. Because there's no eggs, you can enjoy it.
There you go.
And I would
That's
agree.
very important.
And I would agree that the brown sugar does bring out the oat flavor. I can confirm that.
Oh, I appreciate it.
All right, tortilla time.
All right, go for it.
Hello. We're going to make our oat flour tortilla. This was designed to showcase oats in free alternative.
So this is a tortilla made without any carb or any wheat flour.
Yes.
Awesome. And a very nice gluten-free.
Yes. Very few ingredients. 5 ingredients to be exact. Well, oil and water. So I'm going to use 144 grams of our pre-gel oat flour.
Oat tortilla.
And then I have one of our oat fibers. This one is a little bit coarser flour or fiber. This is our SLB plus, and it helps with the non-gluten network. It helps with gums to set up.
Kind of helps everything hold together within the tortilla.
And this is a mixture of tick gum, natural flavor masker, and then shelf life, and salt. Excuse me, Emma. It's my first video.
So we got pre-gel flour, Miller's oat flour, one of our many oat fiber products. Then we have tick gum, salt, and a flavor master. And now we're adding.
I'm going to mix it so that I get a homogeneous mixture. And this is just eyeballing it to make sure it's all going in. But as grain millers, we do have a mix facility where we would make this as a pre-mix for customers. And that's how this is designed. Designed as a pre-mix that we can sell to customers as needed. But for this is a demonstration showing you the individual ingredients. So now that this has come together and I can see that there are no clumps of gums or anything sticking in, I'm going to add just 11.2 grams of canola oil. And as that's mixing in,
And while it's mixing, I'll just take a second to talk about our oat fibers. This is a good time.
as this is mixing, I'm going to also add in the water. And this is going to rapidly come together. And I'm just going to make sure it comes to the bowl. So you want to make sure that everything's cleaned off the bottom. Like I said, it usually is less than 2 minutes that it takes for this stuff to happen.
Hi, Cindy. When
Hello.
do you know when to stop mixing?
Yes, when it's all brought up. And then, like I said, it's usually sometimes, typically about 1.5 minutes. Like I'll stop there.
Okay, because we don't
When
need
it's all
no
stuck to your
development,
mouth.
so yeah.
When it's all, yeah. And it's very, more the consistency of like Play-Doh.
Okay.
And yes, I have washed my hands many times.
So, how do you know how much water to add to the system?
This specific formula we've worked on for many years. It's trial and error.
Okay.
And then it's just repeating it and finding it that it's always reproduced.
How sensitive is the dough to water? If you go a little lighter, a little heavy, can you still make a good solid tortilla out of it?
You can, but it's really how it's going to behave in the sheeter. And this is, we tried sheeting it. It will kind of, it's not as resilient in sheeting because you don't have the gluten network. So, so what we've done is we are just using a tortilla press.
Okay.
So I, out of habit, always want to weigh my dough, but I don't have to. But I typically, this is like a 300 gram, 356 gram dough, and I want to divide it up into 60 gram dough balls.
Very close.
Very close. I'm kind of.
You're a food scientist.
Yes.
I like things to be
So
consistent.
you can let this rest while you go wash dishes, but you don't technically need to. It can go right into the press. And usually you form a ball, and then I'm just going to press it within, like this. And then I'm going to come over here to our dough probe. I have my upper, I guess a little bit about the dough probe. This is a press that has got a heated upper level at 370 degrees, and then I have my lower that's at 350. And I'm just going to push this right in the center, slide this. Oh. For some reason, it's not all the way up. And then it's just a rapid press. You don't want the overexpansion. And then I'm just going to cook it now. Minute and a half per side. This is a little bit smaller. I think I messed up my pressure point there. Because typically we have a few more inches on this diameter.
That's the size of
Yes.
tortilla you would see.
This is like a street taco size.
It's nice
But
to
my
see.
thickness,
It's an oat street taco.
yeah, but my thickness
It's not
may be a little bit longer.
It's nice to see that it's not too sticky.
No, it's not. It's very resilient. While that's cooking, I can show you some tortillas that I made at. Now, when it comes off the dough press, it can have the margins a little bit stiffer, but as it cools, it becomes very pliable. And this one was made yesterday, but the flexibility you have on that is great. And this was one, this is a week old, and it's still very pliable.
Very impressive. So
And
what
not
causes
getting
that
the cracking.
flexibility?
Yes. And you're not getting the cracking or anything like that. So
What, Cindy, what causes the flexibility?
well, we have noticed that, because like I said, trial and error, we've used different ones of our fibers and different flours, and we found with the pre-gel that we had better resiliency in the dough, and specifically also with this particular fiber that it helped form. I mean, we do have the tick gum in there, which is a cellulose and xanthan blend, but it's just all really worked. And we wanted, the original goal was to make a very simple formula that, you know, anybody can add what they want to this, but this is what we found to work and be a simple blend.
It smells good while it's being cooked.
Yes.
It has that oaty smell, and definitely smells like something you would want to put some ingredients into and eat.
Yes.
It would be interesting to fry this in oil in a pan if you want to make it a little less healthy. But with the way it feels and the way it smells, you can totally see this performing, fried in a pan or not, like a very healthy oat-based tortilla. Pretty fantastic.
And have you tried this formulation in a pizza crust or flatbread?
Yes and no. I've done it in the lab, but then it was whether we wanted to focus on that.
Okay.
So then I had to stop.
I think it'll be excellent.
Yeah.
Let me grab these 2 jars.
So I've done a lot of gluten-free baking, but then it comes down to, are we really doing that?
So if I can take is this a good time?
Yeah.
If I can take a second to kind of just show you visually what a whole oat flour looks like and what an oat fiber looks like. This is whole oat flour on the viewer's right, and this is oat fiber on the viewer's left. So you can see they're both very fine, flowable powders, just slightly different color and obviously very different chemical structure and functionality. But speaking of high crust, flatbreads, and tortillas, we think these are great areas for our fibers. And the fiber that she used in the tortilla we call SLB. But what I really want to highlight is that we have a wide range of oat fibers. And again, without the use of any chemicals, we have been making this now for 16 years using this very proprietary process. We can change the settings on our machinery and adjust things like the way the particle size is reduced and the way the particle size is separated to make specific fibers that offer specific functionalities, different lengths, different absorptions. We have a very innovative line of oat fibers. And then we also have a product we call hydrocolloid, which is a combination of oat bran and oat fiber. And that's a great product. We've seen great research in flatbreads and tortillas for the hydrocolloid actually increasing shelf life, increasing rollability, helping the tortilla perform better. So flatbreads, pizza crusts, tortillas, we believe that's a great market for our fibers and all of our other products as well. So I just want to make sure that I highlighted that.
So we have a few raised hands. If you raise your hand, if you want to type your question into the Q&A, please do so. Comment from Joyce. Cindy, that tortilla is amazing.
Glad you like it.
Great job.
I would love for people to make these. This is years of work.
We are giving out the recipes so that they could contact you further.
Yes.
Try out the fiber.
That would be the highlight, because this is, in R&D, a lot of things just get put on the shelf and forgotten. And those are your babies. And this
you know,
I would love for this.
When I see your tortilla shell just fold like that after a week, I'm sold that fiber works.
It makes me wish we were cooking some ground beef and chopping up some lettuce as well. 100% organic, of course. I do want to ask a question though, if I can. If we were to use a whole oat flour in this recipe, how would it negatively or positively affect the tortilla, in your opinion?
The cracking. Okay. You're gonna
may not hold
breakage.
together.
Yes,
as well.
may not hold. Yes, and that's where the water content that you're using and the pre-gel, the way it's pre-gelatinization and how it's holding and how it's working with the gums and working with the fibers, it really creates that network that you miss not having wheat in here.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I've made weak tortillas that break after a few days. So, yes.
So what do we have left on these wheat-free, corn-free tortillas?
Nothing. I can just sit here and make these all day.
It looks great.
Kind of soothing.
Yeah. I wish you had snowy vision. It smells fantastic in
Yes.
here.
It's
Is
got
there
an
anything
oat.
else you want to tell us about the recipe and the tortilla?
Yep.
All right. Well, we're going to move back on over here. We're going to rejoin our associate Hannah. And you can't make a pie crust without putting something inside of it. Am I right?
So true.
Yeah. And so I also want to say a few words going back to oat milk. We're seeing all of these dairy replacements. You're seeing non-dairy yogurts, non-dairy ice creams, and of course non-dairy milks. So Hannah, tell us a little bit about what you're filling our pie crust with, and the fact that it is non-dairy is beautiful, and kind of take us through the ingredients, and then I'm going to get excited to try it out.
Absolutely. So I am going to fill the pie with an oat milk ice cream, and I'm actually going to make fresh oat milk using some Granular's ingredients. So I've made a kind of dry oat milk blend here already. So this is the oat hydrocolloid and Sarah Sweet 16.
Or is it colloidal flour?
Colloidal, sorry,
Colloidal
yes.
flour.
The colloidal flour, and then Sarah Sweet 16 and a little bit of salt. Don't know if you maybe want to expand on those two ingredients a little bit.
All right, so colloidal flour is another product that we hope is available certified gluten-free, but is not available certified gluten-free today. And what this is a very fine whole oat flour that is pretty unique in the marketplace. So this is made from whole grains. And again, we control the particle size reduction and the particle size selection to make this very finely ground colloidal whole oat flour. Colloidal really just refers to the very small particle size. I can't get that lid on there. And then our Sarah Sweet 16.
Let me clarify something with that oat colloidal. We would just add water to it and then make milk, right? Oat milk.
Well, there's a little bit more to it. And again, we are not an oat milk manufacturer. We are very happy to provide ingredients into the oat milk market. So we provide, for some of our customers, we just provide groats, and they do, which is the seed of the oat, and they do all of the oat milk production themselves. For other customers, we provide a colloidal flour, which has high viscosity. Once you add water to it, it gets very viscous. Am I correct? So they've got a process in which to control the viscosity. And then we have another product called oat low viscosity flour, which keeps the viscosity low and doesn't absorb the water and sink to the bottom the way that the colloidal
Interesting. Does. That's really interesting.
And then the other product that Hannah mentioned is our Sarah Sweet, which is an oat syrup and oat sweetener. And any idea on the DE on this? This is 16?
Yes.
Yep, so this is Sarah Sweet 16. Again, made out of oats and oat syrup solids or an oat-based sweetener. And now I'll let you get back to it.
Yeah, so those two ingredients that he was just discussing, that's what I have, a mixture of that in here. So I'm doing 50 grams of this.
So that's Sarah Sweet and Colloidal
Yep,
flour.
and then just a little bit of salt. And then I'm adding 450 grams of water.
Great
Then
color. Great color.
I'm just using an immersion blender to kind of get that all incorporated together.
So at this point, for all intents and purposes, we have really produced an oat milk.
Yep.
Using Grain Miller's Colloidal oat flour, a little bit of Grain Miller's oat syrup salt or Sarah Sweet 16, and some salt and water. And this really can be consumed as an oat milk.
Right.
Excellent.
So the biggest difference between what I just made and what you're going to buy in the store, obviously they're putting other preservatives, additives, and then they're going to run it through a homogenizer, which is going to give us a really great texture. So this over time is going to have a little bit of settling, but what you buy in the store, they've done lots of processing to avoid that. Right. So.
And just a little more of a look at the texture and the feel of this kind of DIY homemade oat milk that we have here.
All right. So to then turn this into gluten-free vegan ice cream, I'm going to use some of the oat milk that I just put together. I'm going to do about 400 grams of that.
Great texture. Good color. It smells great too. It smells like fresh, sweet, whole oat flour.
All right.
So is there fat in this, or is the body coming from the fiber?
Is there fat in it?
I mean, there's going to be some fat in the.
But it would just be naturally occurring.
Yeah.
fat
Like
that you would find in any oat.
I want to know, like, how is it gonna taste creamy if that's no fat in there?
Oh, because, I would just say because of the natural oils that are in the oat itself offer that
Okay.
cream. Would you agree with that?
Well, and the particle size of the colloidal is also going to be, it's non-detectable on the tongue.
So that really fine particle size on that colloidal flour gives it that creamy feel in combination with the natural oils and fats that are in the
We all learned something new today. Colloidal flour.
Yes.
All right. And so then, since I'm putting ice cream together, I'm going to add some sugar. You can really add any sweetener you want. I just kind of went with regular white sugar. And then, so I decided to make this a peanut butter oat milk ice cream. So the biggest thing when you're making an oat milk ice cream, it's vegan, so you don't have all that like really high fat dairy. When you're making an ice cream, you need the fat. If you don't have the fat, it's going to be almost like a popsicle. It's going to like be really, really hard and more like an ice cube.
Yeah.
You need that fat to get you a good texture. So that's why I decided to keep it vegan and not add any, fattening milk, but instead kind of go the peanut butter route, because then peanut butter and oats are such a great flavor together, and then peanut butter gives us obviously lots of that great fat that we need for ice cream.
So one of the biggest challenges of a non-dairy ice cream is the crystallization of the water.
Right.
So that the peanut butter helps kind of mitigate some of that crystallization, so you don't get that, like you're chewing on snow or ice, so you get that cream.
Yeah, so by doing that, like he's saying, it gives you a really nice creamy texture. So I'm just going to heat this kind of over medium heat for just a minute or so, just because I want to melt the sugar and I want to melt the peanut butter, so we all kind of have one homogeneous mix.
And then while she's doing that, I want to make one point that it does feel a little bit like a blogger doing a baking thing in their kitchen, and it's got that kind of home baking feel. But I want to make sure that I drive home the point that Grain Millers, we are an industrial ingredient manufacturer. So developers, we're talking to you and we're using a home baking environment to show you what can be done possibly at industrial scale. And we want you to know that we want to partner with you and provide the solutions for the products that your customers need. And I would make a strong case that customers are probably looking for an oat-based tortilla. The customers are probably looking for an oat-based ice cream and an oat-based pie crust, gluten-free or not. And so I just want to drive home the fact that we're an industrial manufacturer of these ingredients, but we still have this home baking type of ingenuity and approach. And we really want to talk to you developers and make sure that we're providing solutions for the products that you're making for your customers.
That's awesome. Thank you. I hope somebody out there develops a gluten-free ice cream base based on oat flour, oat colloidal flour. That'll be amazing. So I have a question for Cindy while we're waiting.
Yes.
Cindy, what is the shelf stability of the tortillas that you are making? How long can it last?
In an airtight container, I've had them last for months. But I mean, like we had the ones that were done last week, we had some molding on it, and it could be that our shelf life ingredient that we put in there may not be at its finest.
You said you're at 1 week.
Yeah, 1 week.
We all know one of the challenges with corn tortillas, especially, but also wheat flour tortillas, is that even in the refrigerator of the bag, it's really bad.
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, and as this one is sat, I don't remember what it looked like when it came on. It was a little bit stiffer, but it is also the thickness isn't quite what I like it to be at, but it's starting to roll better.
So we can safely say a week without preservatives?
Yes.
And longer with preservatives.
And also, I mean, if you're not repeatedly handling it every day.
So I think we could say, I think we could safely say yes. We would depend on our customers to make that determination.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I did make up some samples for one of our sales representatives, and I had them sitting around for several weeks in a Ziploc, or not in a Ziploc, in an airtight bag in plastic.
Great job, Cindy. That's amazing. High five. Woo.
So I'll give you a look, and I'm telling you, I wish you could smell this. But I'll give you a look at our peanut butter, colloidal, Sarah Sweet, salt, water mixture that has now been heated, so that peanut butter is dissolved in there. It looks really
delicious. I want to try some.
The final thing I'm going to add before I get this in an ice cream maker is I'm adding a little bit of salt and then also a Zoom Essence natural vanilla flavor. So this is a powdered vanilla flavor, so it dissolves really nicely into this. If you kind of want to make this at home, you could also use a vanilla extract. I've done it that way too. It also gets a really great flavor.
Yes, for some of you out there, you're wondering what flavor she's using. She's using Zoom's natural vanilla flavor, and you can ask for it with the toolkit with the name that we provided to you on the chat.
And now it smells even better.
Nice.
Great. So now basically I just pour this into an ice cream maker and you'll have peanut butter oat milk ice cream in about 20 minutes.
I think there's a lot of people who want to really try that vegan ice cream.
And I do go ahead and make a peanut butter oat milk pie ahead of time, so I'll grab that.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at that.
So this is kind of that peanut butter oat milk. So after you make the ice cream, like in the soft serve thing, you're gonna want to put it in the freezer to get that full freezing. Because when you make ice cream, you want the quick freezing, and then you want the second long freezing that you do in your home freezer. So with this, you just let this sit out for a little while before you're ready to eat it, and it has a really great, awesome, creamy texture. And this entire dessert is vegan and gluten-free, which is really awesome because then you can appeal to a lot of different people with something like this.
And while we're on the subject, just talking about gluten-free a little bit to kind of give the miller's perspective on it. So oats don't naturally contain any gluten. So if you have gluten in an oat product, that just means that it's been compromised by gluten-containing grains like wheat, barley, or rye. And so you can look at certified gluten-free, which is a specification, which refers to the parts per million of gluten in the ingredient or in the finished product. But then there's also non-gluten containing. You'll see some products on the shelf that say this is not made with non-gluten containing ingredients. So it's important for anybody who just wants to get gluten out of their diet. You can either go with truly certified gluten-free, which refers to the parts per million gluten in the product, or you can just go with non-gluten containing. And as long as you don't have celiac, you're still achieving your main goal. So this is a non-gluten containing cake or pie crust, but in theory you could also do a gluten-free same recipe as long as you can find the ingredients certified gluten-free. So just a few words about gluten, which grains have it and which grains don't. And That's one of the other magical things about the oat. It does not contain any. So are we all done here?
Yeah.
Are we gonna cut into this guy and we gotta kind of show the texture, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Do we have a knife?
Let's get one.
And a plate, and we can kind of show the, so this is the one you just made.
Can you pull that up?
And it's got a little bit of that, kind of similar to what you would see with the pre-made graham cracker crust on
Yeah,
the store
that
shelf.
nice brown color.
Yeah, I saw the rice.
All right, so we're gonna cut into this oat milk ice cream, peanut butter, and oat crust pie here. And I'm gonna give this away. I got to try this a few days ago, and I know it's gonna be excellent. But I think you'll be really impressed as the viewer to see the texture of the oat milk ice cream and also the way the crust holds together to give you that kind of photo shoot type look. Look at this, live in real time.
Yeah,
And
so
look
this
how
one I
nice
definitely should have let it sit out a little bit longer, but still good to go. It still tastes great.
Yep, so we've got our
Ice cream pie.
oat milk ice cream and our pie crust held up very nice on the back side there. So there's two products you can make using no wheat or dairy in this case with Grain Miller's ingredients. And I'm gonna steal a piece. Wow. Really, really good. And I'm not gonna lie, you can really taste that vanilla in there. It's fantastic.
That's great.
Lynn, do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, we have some questions for the product developers, and I believe Joanna will start with that.
Yes, we do have a couple questions that came in. So one is about making the oat milk. So what are some of the other gluten-free applications for that colloidal oat flour?
Yeah, so the colloidal, since it's ground so finely, kind of like Steve mentioned, it dissolves really quickly. So it can be used as a application to thicken sauces, gravies, drinks, stuff like that. So it's really great because it is a full of flour, but it's just ground really, really finely, which makes it.
Guys, can we hold the camera a little closer to get Hannah, so she doesn't break up? Break up.
So Hannah was saying it can be used as a thickener.
Yeah, you can use it kind of like how you would use a flour to thicken sausage, drinks. You know, there's a lot of drinks and sauces and salad dressings that contain gluten because they want to, put some of that flour for the thickening. And by using something like this, you can avoid some of that those issues. So this can be used as a thickener for a lot of different sauces and drinks and beverages.
And there are also some non-food applications for colloidal flour. You see these lotions and skincare products that are made out of oat-based ingredients. We all know like eczema treatment and things like that. This colloidal flour can be used for nutraceutical or health and wellness and skincare products as well. So also non-food applications.
Interesting.
Very cool. Another question was someone was wondering why you're using the pre-gel oat flour in addition to the regular oat flour.
Which recipe?
For the pie crust, why I was using both. Yeah, so it just kind of, it helps with, I would say the dough hydration. It definitely gives me a little bit more strength. And I found that when I used it, you can see how this, doesn't have all that cracking here. When I was making it with just whole oat flour, I did see a lot more cracking. So the pre-gel gave me a little bit more strength, and by absorbing a little bit more water, I just found that it gave me kind of a stronger pie crust in the end by using some of that in addition to the whole oat flour.
Okay, very cool. And then one more question. This was about the tortillas, about why it was necessary to add the gums into the oat flour tortillas.
Why did I add the gums?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't have the gluten network that I need, and to get to your rollability and extensibility, you need to create a gluten-like system. And so with the fiber and the specific length of the fiber that I had, the gums that I used, and it also had the cellulose in there as well. But and then with the pre-gel, the way the pre-gel is going to hold on to the water, even when you're baking it, it's going to retain some of it, so you get that moisture that's within it. And so it's also going to allow for the shelf life. So it's there, but it's not free water that's going to contribute to molding. But it is going to create that lenticular bonding that you typically get through the gluten development. But it's going to remain intact. So the gums, the pre-gel, and then the fiber all created that network that creates the tortilla. Did I answer your question?
Yes, no, that makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, that's very good. Great. Okay, we had a couple more questions. These are more ones that came in during Dr. Lynn's presentation, but if you guys have any other questions about these products or these oat products in general, go ahead and you can type those in. We can fit them in. Lynn, there was a question for you about for baking gluten-free products and how the traditional S-curve, how does that apply to gluten-free since they have longer bake times due to higher water in the formula?
There isn't enough data for us to really conclude or recommend a appropriate arrival for gluten-free. So what I would suggest if you have a thermal profiler is to run a few through and then determine the quality that you want and then look at that baking profile, okay? And that's how you standardize all your bakes, is understand what your gold standard product looks like and then measure the baking of that product, okay? So there needs to be more compensation on the S-curve for gluten-free. I suspect it's going to be somewhere between 70 to 75, just because there is a lot of moisture to drive out, okay? But there is going to be a point where when you drive out too much moisture, your product is going to stale. So you would need to do some R&D there on figuring out what is the perfect arrival and crumb set zone for your particular gluten-free product.
Okay. And we had another very important question for the Grain Millers team. How could we get some samples of the products that you guys used today?
So you can go to grainmillers.com, to our website. One of the things that makes our website really great is the way our ingredients are displayed. You start with your commodity, your raw grain, and you can work down to the various products that are produced from that grain. And then we have a very slick system. We have very easy access to our salespeople, and we can get you samples sent out. Make a sample request from the website, call the phone number, and we will get back to you very soon. Customer service is very important to everything that we do.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. Okay, we have time for one more question. This one's from Lynn, or for Lynn, sorry. When you talked about fermentation for gluten-free products should be done in 30 minutes, does that mean yeast in the formula needs to be adjusted to target a 30-minute proof? And then how would you determine the best proof temp and time for gluten-free bread compared to conventional bread proofing conditions?
Again, it really depends on the type of product you're making, a flatbread versus a pizza versus a loaf product. I would recommend 30 minutes for, not more than 30 minutes for a flatbread product. For a loaf product, maybe a little longer. Okay, so you do need to adjust the yeast to that. And it also really depends on your formulation, because certain formulation are more resilient to longer fermentation times. And if you have a very weak network, a very weak structure, then you have to proof less, okay? Because what's happened is when you let it sit longer without any kind of emulsifier or any kind of a good solid network to hold it properly, then the bubbles are going to start moving around. And once the bubbles start moving around, they become bigger bubbles. They they merge into each other, and they become bigger and bigger and bigger. And this happens as time goes along. So that's why my recommendation is always target for a shorter proof than a longer one. And what is the best proofing temperature and time for gluten-free bread? For leaner doughs, those doughs that don't have too much fat, I would go, same thing, 90 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, 90 to 95% relative humidity. And it's very similar to conventional bread proofing, mainly because it's for the yeast to grow the product, okay? And again, you know, you should look for 2 to 3 times increase in a low bread kind of product for your proofing temperature and time. Be careful, don't go too high, because the higher proofing time, you give the gluten-free dough, the more unstable you make the dough. Okay, so a lower proofing temperature is really preferred. Hope that helps.
Right. Yeah, any other questions? Last call, last chance to get them in.
You're welcome, Tia.
All right. Before we sign off, this worked out beautifully. Hannah's going to bring over our oat milk ice cream out of our ice cream maker and pour it into the oat-based pie crust right here live. Look at that, great texture.
That is nice.
And then about how long in the freezer for this after it's poured in?
So the first like quick freezing is probably about 20 minutes, and then you're gonna want to freeze it for at least a few hours.
Look at that great smooth texture from the combination of that colloidal flour. The Sarah Sweet offers the sweetness.
I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if your colloidal fiber doesn't work as an emulsifier to thicken that up.
It definitely could play a role in that when I'm putting this together, because it does have a really good a good creamy thickness.
So smooth.
And then we have that great oat smell with the peanut butter and the vanilla in there. So not just visually pleasing or texturally, but the smell of this pie is just fantastic.
All right, so yeah, like I was saying, after you right out of the ice cream maker, it's kind of that soft serve consistency, and then you just want to get it in the freezer, probably like 3 to 5 hours, kind of just based on what you the kind of texture you want. But you need that second full freezer to do this, and even with the oat milk, it still gives you that really great creamy texture after the full freeze.
All right, so these are the things that we're working on here at Grain Millers. We're not just producing ingredients and finding out ways to manipulate these commodities to make new ingredients. We're doing our own work here in our R&D lab with this great team of really smart, sharp, task-oriented people to figure out, once we create these new ingredients, how can they be used? And what this offers you, our customers, and the developers in our customers' locations, is when you need a solution, we've done the research to produce the ingredient, find out how it works, so that we can provide it to you. So luckily here in Eugene, Oregon, it's about 11 a.m., which is dessert time for me. So normally I would eat oatmeal with peanut butter and raisins, but today I'm going to get down on this non-dairy oat peanut butter vanilla pie in the oat crust. Hannah, thank you so much. Great job today.
Thank
Cynthia,
you.
thank you so much. Great job today. Cannot forget the tortilla as well. But we really enjoyed being on here. Lynn, it's always great to partner with you. Thank you for your time, and I hope everybody has a great and safe day. I'm going to take my pie and run. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. We will see you at the next.
Thank you.
Bye.